Hello everybody and welcome to today's episode of Astrocraft. So, today on Astrocraft we're going to be taking a bit of a break from the big base because I'm actually pre-recording this week I'm going to be on vacation at the time you're seeing this currently. And I won't be able to upload really, so I'm pre-recording and pre-editing a video for this week while I'm gone. So I don't really have anything from last week's comments. If you put in a name for any of the pets I have, sorry I haven't named them because I am pre-recording. And we're not going to be building this tower and this wall because I didn't really have the time to finish designing this tower's windows to have it ready for this episode. So we're just going to be taking a bit of a break this week from the big base, as we've been sort of going at it for the past few episodes, building these walls and the towers for the base. So, next week's episode, we will be back to finishing off the exterior of the build. I will probably leave the roof a bit open for a while, if that's the best word to describe it, because I need a bit of time to finish designing the center and trying to figure out how much cyan terracotta I don't need, because it's getting to be a lot to get all the terracotta I need. I only have about this much terracotta left to dye from my last mining expedition, and that's not even going to be enough to fill all these chests, which is the initial amount of cyan terracotta I needed. So I'm hoping I don't need as much as that, but I need a bit more time to finish up designing the roof and figuring out if I'm going to add something a bit nicer on there than just being a plain cyan terracotta roof where monsters spawn constantly. But you might be wondering, since you are not building the big base for Bix, what are you building in this episode? Well, I've been talked to. And not by you guys, it was by the other members of the server. Apparently, I have a slight problem of my base is very hard to get to. So, as everybody knows, I live on top of a mountain. Starlight lives on top of the mountain, a mountain across the way. That's Starlight's area, by the way. If you haven't watched an episode before, Starlight is my friend who lives across the canyon. Mifa lives pretty close by. So me and Mifa have actually talked about building a path between our bases, but because we both have Elytra now, I'm not really sure if we're going to need to build one. Might be nice to build one anyways, though, but that's not what we're doing this episode, because that would be more of a collab between the two of us than just me. So, for this Just Me episode, we are going to be building an easier access point for everybody on the server. So, most people, when coming to my base, come from this direction, and actually the first thing they see is this canyon and the cherry blossoms. Ooh, I haven't come from this way in a long time, and it looks like soon enough they'll be seeing. So if I'm coming in, I actually spawns this way, so I generally come in from this direction while I'm flying. So first off, when you're flying in, you see the cherry blossom biome. And if you go close enough to this direction, you will see the towers. But most people see the cherry blossom biome when coming in, and then they see the giant mountain it's on, and it's very hard to get up that mountain. So, I've been thinking about a way to make this easier for everybody. So, I have a bit of a problem when it comes to people getting to my base. They generally have a really hard time making it up the mountain, and after practicing for time and time again of me falling, dying, and going to spawn, which hasn't happened very frequently, but I've gone to spawn a lot actually, and coming back, it's a bit of a pain to make it back up the mountain. So I'm going to make a shortcut for everybody. I'm going to make a little pathway, I guess is the best thing to call it. So Zelfran actually has some dirt pillars, which are pretty ugly, so I never show them on camera. See, he has a set of dirt pillars that leads him to my base if he likes to use them. So I was thinking I could hook up a way to make it to the top of the mountain through here. So I initially was thinking maybe something over here-ish and hooking it up through to be next to my starter base, but because I'm going to be moving things a lot closer to the middle sooner from now on, I'm thinking maybe we should build the bridge around here. So we sort of build that over to this point over here. Ooh, don't want to fly into there. We sort of make a little pathway through this wall. So like here-ish. And then we go up to a area sort of up here, I guess. I would have to sort of figure out how to do that. I think the best place to actually go would be maybe in here, but to wall off this area. If you guys don't know what this area is, it is actually next to my strip mine that I started in episode 1. So this is actually a little cave that I've already excavated most of the ores from. I say little, it's not that little, but it's a pretty dangerous place in my base. And I don't generally come down here a lot. It's underneath it's sort of next to the giant grass platform, and it's mostly covered by the mountain. But the ladder and the cobblestone over there is from my strip mine, so I would probably actually wall this sort of area off, because I use this area for moss growing, which would be something that I don't really want people to see a lot of. So I could wall this off and make this a bit of a nicer area, and have people come up here, and I could have a little pathway that goes upwards. It might be actually better if I put it up here. But I have this go upwards and have a little path that goes up and around the mountain that sort of people could use to get up to my base a lot easier when they don't have a elytra. And it would actually land you around up here, and I could figure out how to keep it in if I were planning to sort of take down this area so I can have a bit more space for my mega base to breathe. So that's sort of my thought process on it. I'm gonna need a bit more time to design it a bit. It's gonna be a very on-the-fly build, which I actually generally do pretty good with those. But I would probably wall off this area. And then I'd wall off this area, figure out like a nice area to have here, and then a nice little grass path that goes up the mountain that I could terraform nicely. And then it sort of brings you up to the crown jewel of my base. My giant mega base up here, so yeah. That is what we are going to be doing this episode today, and I don't really have a lot of time to do it as well because I only have a few days to record and edit all the videos. So sorry about that. So I actually don't have a lot of time to do this episode, so I'm sort of hoping this build doesn't take forever. But I'm sort of excited to have an easier way for people to make it up to my base so that people won't be deterred as much from coming here. So I will see you guys into the time lapse we go. Okay, hello everybody. So this time lapse is a bit different than others. My entire replay recording sort of, this happens sometimes when I extend the camera range a bit too far, which is why I'm always really careful about having all my materials on hand already, because if I go too far away from where I'm building, it won't render the entire world, and that makes the entire recording blank, practically, is the best way to describe it. So I have to use the backup for this for time-lapse, which is why you see the big recording button, because this is my backup recording. And honestly, I actually think the backup recording is a bit better in this instance, because I messed up a few times while recording and I forgot to unpause it, and I was doing a lot of stuff while doing it, I was watching some stuff while I was doing it, so I was a bit distracted, and it was already a pretty different build from what I've been doing recently, so I think I might have stretched myself a bit too thin with what I was doing with this one, but it was more recording wise than actually creatively wise, because I actually think this happened pretty well. So you can see I am like expanding sort of the tunnel area, and this time lapse ended, well, it didn't end. This time lapse started a bit later than I actually would have liked it to start, because this is already after I sort of made the pathway, so I sort of forgot to record that beginning part where I made the path there. But so I already have like the path there, and right now I'm like forming it to be the type of shape that I want, and I have a tube already that goes up to the upper level. So I hope you guys enjoy this time lapse. I'm not going to voice over the entire thing, but I was just giving you a bit of background as to why it doesn't look like my usual time lapses, and why it starts a bit later. And you can see me going back for materials because I forgot to get a few things before I went building this, so I sort of stretched the recording a bit too thin that I would have liked to, but it's okay. Everything's worked out and it looks really nice in the end. So enjoy the building process, and I will see you guys in the outro. Hello everybody and welcome back from the time lapse. So I know that time lapse was a pretty quick one, but compared to what I've been doing, this was actually a really tiny project. So here's the nice little entryway. I decided to go with a bridge that sort of mixes the style from the big bridge up there and the starter base into this little bridge here. And I added spruce slabs because I really have been wanting to do that up there, but I've just gotten lazy about doing it. So I added a few slabs there, and I actually added a lot of slabs in the little pathway that you can actually go back up this path. It's just a bit hard to, because you need to maneuver weirdly, but you can actually make it up and down without having to jump, really. And then I decided to go with a bit of a lush caves feel. So, like, you're sort of getting into it, so you sort of have, like, a tiny little patch of water over here, the little patch of moss, and then some ceiling patches of moss, and then as you get closer and closer to the area over here, you get more and more lush cave-like. I didn't put any clay in. It's not truly like a lush cave because I didn't put the axolotl I have in, but wait, I do have an axolotl. I could actually put that in here. Okay, give me a moment. We'll do that in a moment. So I made it go up here, and I have another little pile of water here, puddle of water, and then I did a nice little pathway this way, and it looks pretty nice. I say, personally, it looks really nice, and it gets you all the way up here without having to use elytra at all. So that was a very nice thing that I got to do. I also got a significant amount of coal and copper, which I promptly mined down and crafted. It took a bit to mine it down, so I didn't record it. There's no other way down into the area. That's probably the one con of the thing, is I don't have an easy way back in. And it isn't really fly-throughable because of all the glowberry vines, but it's how I decided to light it up with glowberries and lanterns and not really torches that much. And look, there is a nice little axolotl. Yeah, I don't have a name for it. Put a name in the comments if you want to name it. And it will be named next episode. But that is a very nice little puddle. If I have a second one, I'll probably put it in up here. But yeah, we did what we wanted to do this episode. That was really good, and I actually got it done pretty quick. Building a tower takes a lot longer, of course, but I feel like doing a tinier project gives my brain a bit of a break between structures, I guess is the best way to describe it. Because I've been getting a bit tired doing all of the towers and all the window designs. It's making it a bit hard to be creative with the window designs recently, but I think doing that will get me back to a similar but fresh window design for next tower in next episode. So I will be working on this and hoping that it will be probably the best of all, because I think if I were to rate the towers in a row, I would say this one's probably the worst one, and that one's second, and that one's first. And I probably will keep it that way. And the last one I'll probably like the best. I might still like this one the best, because I really like libraries and the really nice pops of dark oak in these. But yeah. I have enjoyed building this little entryway, and I will be working on improving accessibility to people making it to my base, because I'm getting a bit lonely on the top of my mountain all alone with the cherry trees. As you see, I've gotten lots of pets, but there's no people, so I'm going to be working on more accessible ways to make it to my base, and I have a deal with the server members that if they break the bedrock in the roof, I will hook up all the portals. So I was literally just saying about how I would put it in this pool. I'm sorry, I just can't not laugh at that. So, if you sort of missed it, I just put that axolotl, this exact axolotl, in the water pool at the bottom of this waterfall that I put down there. And it went up the waterfall. Well, not really up the waterfall, up the bubble elevator, and into this pool of water I put here that I said I would put another axolotl in if I got one. Well, it looks like I can't really do that anymore, considering this axolotl pretty much has to live here, because I think living in that pool was a bit too dangerous for it then. But yeah. Again, if you want to name the axolotl, put a name in the comments. Only appropriate names, please. But yeah. So I think that was a pretty productive episode, even though it wasn't as productive as my episodes have been in the past. I think this was a pretty nice one, and hopefully it will improve the amount of people who actually want to come to my base. Most of them haven't gotten an elytra, so this makes it easier for the non-elytra members to make it up to my very big, very wonderful base of the rich Rubiks. Yeah. So, that's it for today's episode. Subscribe to my channel if you like my content, like this video. If you liked this video, make sure to check out the other channels in the description below. I know Mifa's been working on some stuff on her channel, so I would definitely go and check her out. And I will see you guys next time on Astrocraft. Have a great day!